to celebrate the power of advocates who save lives. Diane, I have known you for almost a decade, and you are an inspiration. Genetics is something that is so often ignored, yet knowing about your family history can make such a huge impact. And it's a life-changing and life-saving approach to thinking about cancer. Tonight, along with Diane, we take this important opportunity to shine a light on Lynch syndrome. After several family members had succumbed to cancer at young ages in Diane's family, Diane was advised to see a genetic counselor concerned that she might have Lynch syndrome, a genetic condition that profoundly increases individuals' risk of certain types of cancers, and most prominently colorectal cancer. And like many people whose family members have suffered from cancer, Diane was initially reluctant to have genetic testing, worried that she might test positive. And like most people, she was thinking, maybe I would be better off not knowing that answer. Well, Diane, I know that it did take you some time before you decided to have that genetic test and see a genetic counselor. And in fact, Diane's fears were confirmed as she tested positive for Lynch syndrome. But she went into battle mode. She educated herself, learning that most of the high-risk Lynch cancers are in fact preventable. And she realized that knowing that she had Lynch syndrome gave her the advantage of preventing and detecting cancer at its earliest and often most curable stage. Genetics is not destiny. Genetic testing and screening saves lives. And because of her vigilance in screening, precancerous lesions that could have resulted in colon cancer have been removed on multiple occasions. And this has earned Diane the distinction of being a previvor, someone with hereditary cancer syndrome predisposition who has prevented a cancer diagnosis. She's educated her family and is proud of the fact that by sharing this knowledge and awareness, there have been no further cancer deaths in her family. She is an individual who is a mother, a grandmother, and a family member who has advocated for her family and advocated for hereditary cancer awareness. And since her retirement last year, she's devoted her full-time energy to advocacy, traveling across the country and educating people about Lynch syndrome. She does this on behalf of Myriad Genetics and all of the families who work and understand Lynch syndrome. With 5 generations of cancer in Diane's family, this is something that is incredibly meaningful for Diane to match her long-standing interest in preventing cancer with Wunderglo Foundation's mission of finding a cure. Members of the team who at USC Norris are keeping you healthy, Diane, are here with us tonight. Dr. Greg Betos, a gastroenterologist whose expertise is in Lynch syndrome, the head of our gastrointestinal oncology program, Dr. Heinz Joseph Lenz, and in fact, although the genetic counselor who first met with you 10 years ago for that genetic test could not be here with us tonight, I spoke to her earlier this afternoon, and Katrina Lostetter asked me to give you a hug and thank you for your extraordinary advocacy. And it's my sincere pleasure to honor and introduce Cancer Warrior Award honoree, the woman who has saved countless lives by advocating for Lynch syndrome and colon cancer, Diane Hardison.
Well, most of you don't know this, but that was a huge surprise. And now I have to talk. Oh boy. Some of what I was going to say in my opening remarks were already on that video, so I'm a little bit lost right now where to start, because I was going to talk about the train track analogy. I'll just say, 10 people in my family died before we knew we had a genetic problem. 0 cancer deaths since. That's huge. So I'm thankful I inherited much more than a cancer syndrome. I come from a family, oh boy, here come the tears, that puts others first. I saw this as my mom lay dying. 4 short days after her second cancer diagnosis, she looked at her twin sister and she said, I am not going to die today. I don't want to ruin our birthday. So my mom died the next day, the day after their 56th birthday. I got to see that same unselfishness the day that my mom died, when I went to my son Chris and gave him the daunting choice of whether to be in the waiting room or ICU with Grandma when she died. 11-year-old little boy looked at me and gave me the hugest, proudest mommy moment of all time and said, Mom, it doesn't matter what we want. We need to be there for Grandma. So proud of Chris and the man that he is today, because he's also an advocate and a speaker, even though he didn't inherit this, and I'm very, very proud of him. I also see that unselfishness every single day in my husband Walter, who puts everyone, especially me, first, and taught me the meaning of the word cherished. This honor really belongs to my family. My widowed grandmother, who raised 4 children alone after surviving colon cancer at 37. My mom and her twin, far too young, gone at 56 and 58. My cousin, who died at 31 of preventable colon cancer. And his daughter, who's a pre-viver like me, also a speaker and an advocate. To my nephew, who joined our family far too young in heaven at 19. And my sister, who's now survived 2 colon cancers and 8 other primary cancers, 1 year older than me. This honor really belongs also to my awesome group of friends, Lena and Linda and Christy, who have turned their own cancer journeys into advocacy for others, as so many others here. To Nancy and Kat, widows that fight every day to honor their husbands and fight to find a cure for colon cancer. This honor really belongs also to Myriad Genetics, and thank you, wherever you are in the crowd, for being here. Their test saved my life and got me and my family off the train tracks, not to mention the millions of other people they've tested. And I'm very grateful, because it's because of their sponsorship and generosity that I'm able to travel all over the country spreading awareness. You've already heard about my incredible team at USC. They patiently and, very patiently and compassionately help me through the fear of cancer that's always lurking over me in the shadows. Steve Gruber and Greg Edos both called me a month ago from their vacations because I had a cancer scare. They are amazing in what they do for me. And if it were not for them, I probably wouldn't be standing here a 60-year-old pre-viver. Thank you. This honor really belongs to Becky Keller, who honors her beautiful Gloria, Wunderglo, as she tirelessly works to keep all of this running. Behind the scenes, giving her time to help patients and their families. Countless phone calls, hospital bedsides, doctor appointments, always, always giving. It's easy to see how Gloria became Wunderglo when I look at you, Becky. patience, support, love, encouragement, and most of all, hope. One last story. Minutes before my mom breathed her last breath, she asked me to read her favorite Bible verse to her. And we know that all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Thank you for this honor. I'm blessed beyond my comprehension to be able to live out those words that I read to my mom. To take my family's tragedy and turn it into good for others. It is what Becky and Nancy and Kat and Linda and Lena, Yana and Tom, so many others here do. It is what many of you are doing tonight as you open your hearts and hopefully your checkbooks. We take this awful thing called cancer. We take what this awful thing called cancer has stolen from us and use it for good. This honor belongs